How powerful would it be to capture and maintain people's interest while you covertly influence them without the need for resistance? What am I talking about? Well, today, excuse me, live video just started and I need to sneeze. Okay, today I am talking about hypnotic storytelling. But before I go into that, first of all, yes, hypnotic storytelling. First of all, I want to give you a bit of an analogy, right? Why hypnotic storytelling? Well, first of all, I want you to imagine a plane, right? There's a plane and you're a pilot and you're going to go somewhere. Now, a plane can be very useful depending on what you fill the plane with. So a plane with maybe one passenger is not going to be as useful as a plane carrying a whole bunch of vaccine or some very important people to go to a meeting. And that's the same with a story, right? A story can just be a story on its own. But if you fill it with the right elements, it can be very powerful. It can be very persuasive. It can change people's minds, get people to think a certain way, get people to feel a certain way, all depending on what you stack into your story. Rick, thank you very much. Always a pleasure to see you, buddy. And so this is what we're talking about when we talk about hypnotic storytelling. How do you get all the right elements into your story? So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome you to another episode of Master the Mind. And today we're talking about hypnotic storytelling. How do you capture attention, captivate, and influence real deeply? And yes, we are talking about hypnotic storytelling. Look into my eyes, not around the eyes, in my eyes. All right, so let's get going with hypnotic storytelling. So, first of all, why hypnotic storytelling? But if you want to captivate your audience, if you want to plant little seeds that grow into thoughts, bigger thoughts, and without any resistance, then this is the way to do it. Now, I want you to just try this for size, right? Imagine for a moment someone said to you, go and read this book. You'd be like, whatever. Now, if at the same time, if somebody says to you, okay, you're going through this problem. Oh my God, you know what? My friend, have you heard of Ahmed? Ahmed actually was going through such a similar problem. And he was frustrated with it for so long. And then he heard from one of his teachers that this book was very, very powerful. So he read the book and it absolutely changed his life. Now, by saying something like that, all of a sudden, the person that you're speaking to will be like, oh, maybe I should read the book. It's their idea. You haven't told them to do it. It's their idea. And when it's their idea, it is so much more powerful. Laura Yee in the house. What's up, Laura? Great to see you. How you doing? What's crack-a-lacking? I think all of you guys are like in US West Coast or something. So it must be like really late or super early for you guys. But so massive respect to you for tuning in. All right, let's go through this. So how did I discover the power of this tool? Well, a number of years ago, when I first went to take my NLP training, I was in London and I witnessed the trainer, Dr. Richard Bandler, is amazing hypnotic trainer, speaker, etc. He's the guy that created NLP. And he literally turned to someone and said, shut the hell up or I'll kick you out. Now, and the guy actually went from being really disruptive to quiet, but he wasn't insulted in the slightest bit. And the way he did it is so powerful. So I'm gonna break down how he actually did it so that it wasn't insulting at all. And the guy wasn't even in the slightest bit insulted. And because He used it within a story. So let me tell you how it worked. So there was this guy, and he was super disruptive. He's in the class, he's kind of talking, and he's like making a lot of noise. And then all of a sudden, Richard Bandler is kind of getting a little bit annoyed, and then he breaks into a story, and he goes, you know what? It's interesting how people can just talk in a seminar. I remember when I went to this seminar in the 70s, and there was a trainer, I think it was Milton Erickson. He was standing at the front, and there was a guy in the audience who was really disruptive. And this guy was just making a whole bunch of noise in Milton Erickson's seminar. And the trainer was initially patient, but then the trainer just was patient. And then he had it up to here. And I remember Milton, he just snapped. He turned to the guy and he said, "Shut the hell up, or I'm going to kick you out of here." And Richard Bandler says, but I could never do that. It's not something that I could do. However, this is the crazy thing. Let me rewind a slide, right? When he said the words in his story, when he said the words, "Shut the hell up or I will kick you out of here," guess who he was looking at? Guess who he was pointing at? He was pointing and looking at the guy that was disruptive. So even though it was a story, within the story, he told the guy, "Shut the hell up or I'm going to kick you out of here." But it wasn't him saying it. Even so, and so at an unconscious level, this guy was listening to the story, and he just went from being disruptive to being quiet because of a story. Whereas if Richard had just said to him, "Listen, be quiet," or whatever, the guy might have, might have either been insulted or he might have disagreed. However, I just saw the power of this story just by him doing that. So it was very, very powerful. So 3:15 a.m. Wow, 12 hours apart. Yeah, like crazy. I have massive respect to you, man, for tuning in. All right, cool. So this is why hypnotic stories are so powerful, because you can get someone to feel a certain way, to do something, to get a message across, to tell someone off within a story. And so that's so powerful. Rima, I have not seen you in forever. How you doing, Rima? What is your profile picture? I'm liking that. That's very cool. So good to see you, Rima. It's been too long. Thanks for tuning in. So today I'm going to share with you 14 power moves to hypnotic stories. Hypnotic stories. Dun, 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 dun. All right, let's get going. So let's start with number one. So the first thing, if you're going to tell any story that's hypnotic, it's got to be relevant. Now, relevant to what the person wants to hear, or relevant to what's going on in their life. This is the first part. Like, you can't just start telling a story about something random that the person has never even thought of, just out of the blue. If it's very relevant to what's going on in the person's life, you can get so much across. So I'll give you a very quick example. It doesn't even need to be a hypnotic story. If a story is relevant to your life, it's going to be hypnotic for you, in the sense that it will get you to take action. It will get you to feel a certain way. And let me give you an example. So I am making videos every single day. I'm coming up to 300 days in a row of making live videos. At about 180 videos after I'd done about 180 videos, I started to get a bit like, I'm not getting the traction that I want to get. It's not working as much as I'd like to, etc. Is this gonna work? Is this whatever? And I heard a story of a guy by the name of Muneer. He makes these videos, Nas Daily. He makes a daily video every single day, and he goes, and that's 1 minute, etc. He makes a video every single day, and he was talking about his journey. He was like, I didn't know who was going to watch them. I didn't know whatever. I just said, you know what? I'm going to make 1,000 videos in a row. Every single day, I'm going to make a video. and who knows what's going to happen. And now he's like very, very, very successful in terms of his videos. But I watched that video, and it was very relevant to me because of what I was experiencing. So I got inspired, and I wanted to take it further because it was relevant to what I was going through. So when if you're telling a story to an individual or a small group, find out what's going on in their lives, and you can tell a very relevant story that will make them that will go deeper and grab attention a whole lot more. So that is number one.
Number two.
So a hypnotic story is a story. So within a story, I'm going to go through these very quickly. You need a hero or a heroine, right? Like the person that the story is about. This is the person typically that your audience is going to identify with, right? And that's why you need that person. So that's number two. I'm going to breeze through these very quickly. You need an antagonist. This is the thing that they are overcoming, the challenge that the hero is overcoming. Now, it could be an evil person, right? The bad guy. Or it could be the weather. Or it could be an internal feeling, the lack of confidence, the lack of the feeling anxiety or whatever it is. But it could be, it's just the challenge that the hero is trying to overcome. So that's the third part of the story. Then they need an epiphany. Number four is they need an epiphany. So the hero has to go through a moment where everything was against them, and all of a sudden, that moment of realization. This is what I have to do. Every story has that. Every movie that you have, like a powerful movie, has that moment of, okay, where things turn from bad to good. And then that transformation, okay? If you're telling a story, especially a hypnotic story that you want to influence people with, there's got to be a before and after, right? Otherwise, you're just telling a story of somebody walking, right? Even if you're telling a story of somebody walking, they started somewhere, they ended up somewhere, but still, there's a before and after. There's that transformation. There was who they were before. They had to defeat the enemy. They defeated the enemy, or they learned something new, or they became more confident, whatever it is, but there's that transformation. So there's the result. And then let's go into the more hypnotic elements that you probably haven't heard of. So how do you make these stories, these stories that you know about, hypnotic? First of all, use quotations. So what do I mean by using quotations? So if I'm doing a quotation, wait.
Say what?
Quotation? Right. So a quotation, you get to say something from someone in your audience, but you're telling it to, you're saying something in your story that one of the characters says, but you're looking at your audience and you're telling your audience, but the character is telling it in a story. So it is very, very, very powerful. So I'll give you a quick couple of examples. When I was promoting like some coaching programs, etc., I always talked about a plan B, and I would tell a story of someone I knew very, very well that I had worked with, and he sat me down one day, and he looked at me and he said, "Muneer, you have car insurance, but you don't plan on getting into an accident. Am I right?" And I would go, "Yes." He said, "You have health insurance, so you have a plan B for your health, even though you're not planning on getting sick. Am I right?" And I said, "Yes." And he said, what is your plan B for your income?" So you see, I say that he said, "What is your plan B for your income?" And then I talk to the audience, and the audience know that I'm talking to them, but they also realize that I'm not talking to them, that I'm just telling a story. So it's a very unconscious way to get people to wake up to a fact. And so I want to get a message across, but I don't want to just come out and say, "Hey, what's your plan B?" Because they might get insulted. But if my character turns around and says, what is your plan B for your income? Then I can get a powerful message across. So quotations can be a very powerful hypnotic tool when it comes to getting messages across. So that was number 6. Now, number
6.
Number-
And here's number 7.
all right. Number 7 is embedded commands. This is a very powerful hypnotic tool. Now, what's an embedded command? First of all, what is a command? If you ever see yourself talking, like an adult talking to their kids, right? Sometimes they're using a command, right? They're going, sit down, right? The tonality, although it doesn't need to be harsh, is very much down, not sit down. I'm not asking a question. So the first thing is you want to say things in a command tonality. You don't need to be harsh about it, but you want people to know that you're telling them to do something, not asking them to do something. So you could ask a question, not ask a question. Can you ask a question? Can you ask a question? Right? It's the tonality is down, which means that's a command, that you're asking somebody to do something. So unconsciously, when you use command tonality, people know that you're asking them to do something. So that's the first part of it. But also, your mind is a pattern-making machine. Here's what I mean by that. So check this out, right? 100, 200, 300, 400, what's the next number? You know it's going to be 500. If I said 100, 99, 98, 97, what's the next number? You know what the next number is. If I said 11, 22, 33, 44, what's the next number? Or 100, 105, 110, 115, what's the next number? You know these. Why do you know this? Because your mind automatically establishes patterns. So when you talk, and every once in a while you give a little bit of a command, sort of like I wonder what it would be like if you were to relax now, and da 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 da, and feel your body relaxing, and da 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 da, and letting go of tension. So all of a sudden, if you have little things that are dispersed throughout your conversation, little commands, your brain starts to pick up on it and starts to begin to relax, right? So this is the second part. So you're establishing a pattern within your conversation, and then using simple commands. Here's what I mean by that. If you want someone to be happy, right? You don't say, okay, what I want you to do is I want you to smile, and I want you to think of all the happy things that are going on in your life and start to be grateful. And that, no, it's just, and be happy, right? Like the word happy, be happy, think happy thoughts, like very, very quick commands that you are going to disperse throughout your conversation or throughout your talk are going to be very powerful commands. So using simple commands, marking it out just means that when you're speaking, so if I start to talk, I can talk one way and I'll be like, and I went to hear a talk, and this guy said, why don't you just sit down? And when I take a break before the embedded command, so I'll say something and then I'll pause, and then I'll say my voice in I'll say my command in a slightly different voice. That shows people or lets people know that they need to pay attention to this. So marking it out just means give a little bit of space before you tell people a command, a little bit of space after, and it will go at a deeper level to the unconscious, okay? And then congruency is, if you're talking about being happy, you got to be happy when you say it. So I wouldn't tell someone, oh, and I want you to think of happy thoughts and just allow the happiness to kind of wash over you. Yeah, and I just want you to think of happy thoughts. Just allow your voice, your feeling to communicate what you're talking about. Or if you talk about relaxation, you don't want to be like, and you can relax now, relax deeply. Just relax. Allow yourself to relax. So allow whatever you're feeling to be, allow whatever you want to communicate, allow yourself to feel that. Okay? Now, number 8.
Number 8.
Number
Number 8.
is something called switching referential index. I know it's a complicated name, but let me just explain to you what that means. Switching referential index is when you're switching from talking about an I to a you. Now, it's a very, very sneaky, like very cool covert tool when you switch from an I to you. So, for example, when I talk about a course, right, and I want to overcome the challenge of someone thinking it's crazily expensive, I will tell a story about myself, and I'll be like, and then I looked at this course and I said, $5,000. Oh my God, there's no way that I can afford that. But then I thought to yourself, not good English. Nobody's gonna pick it up. Sounds like a mistake. And then I say to yourself. See, it's an embedded command. Say to yourself. I say to yourself, what is it gonna cost you in the long run? What's it gonna cost? Or I say to yourself, what's it gonna cost me in the long run? Right? So you're switching the referential index. So I'm saying, say to yourself, what's it going to cost you in the long run? So I'm getting you to just, these are very, very slight things. And one on its own isn't going to change the world, by the way. However, when you stack all of these, it can be very powerfully persuasive in your conversation. The next thing, number 9 is
Number 9.
Hypnotic power words. I've done a number of videos on these. I'm not going to go over these too much. However, there are certain words that have been scientifically proven to close to like increase your persuasion just by 30%. Harvard have done studies on the word because, for example. Very, very powerful. Yeah, Rima, that's a tricky one to do. Yeah, for sure. The switching referential index. You just do it in like I say to yourself, or and I was thinking, why don't you? That's switching referential index. I was thinking, why don't you do this? And then I can talk to someone. So I to you, for example. That could be easier. So hypnotic power words, I've done a number of YouTube videos on these. A number of Harvard studies have shown that it literally, one word can just crazily increase your persuasion. So definitely check out some of those. Check out on my YouTube channel, please, for more. These are very, very powerful. You get the brain into a bit of a pattern. It can be very, very powerful. Okay, so number 10. What is that? Number 10. All right. How many of you saw the movie Avengers Endgame? Oh my God. Like you see the first movie, and after the first movie, when it ended, I was just sitting there like,
Say what?
What? No, you can't end it there. You can't. Oh my God. It left at such a cliffhanger. I was sitting there on my seat like, what is going on? What? No, you can't end it here. I need to know more. Tell me. Don't just end it. And I remember after that movie, I was just waiting for the next movie, and for months. And I was just like, I wonder what they're gonna do. Why is that? That's because they created what is called an open loop. An open loop is like an unanswered question. If you've ever been addicted to a TV show or a TV series, and they've left, and every episode they're like, and then it's like, Vanessa walks in and she walks in and they go, "Oh, you're alive." And then that's the end of the episode and you're like, what happened? What happened? That's an open loop. You want to know the answer. So open loops are very, very powerful because they get your mind to be extra curious and to pay attention even more. So you can open a loop and people will pay attention, and then start a new story. And that actually brings me to number 11. 11 is about using stories within stories. Now, here's what I mean. Like, if you've ever watched the movie Inception, there's like this level, and then there's another level. There's a story within the story within the story. And that's what we talk about when you open a loop. So you tell a story, you get to a cliffhanger, and then you start a new story. And people are like, what happened there? But then they get into your new story, and then you tell a new story. It could be, that once upon a time there was Bob and Amanda, and Bob was sitting with his son, and Bob tells his son a story, and Bob says, once upon a time there was a king. That's a story within a story already. And so these can get really hypnotic and really powerful in terms of unconsciously communicating a few things, when you go into a few levels deep, and then you can give a few powerful suggestions a few levels deep, and then come out of the story and people won't remember what's in the middle. It's very, very, very powerful. So that's number 11.
Number 12.
Symbols. We think in symbols. If you tell someone it was a dark and stormy night, they're not going to think, oh, this is a pleasant story, right? Like there's some turmoil there, right? So if you talk about a dark and stormy night, there was lightning everywhere, in people's mind, oh my God, there's turmoil, right? If you go up to a lake of water and you stare into a lake of water, it's a moment of insight, like you're gaining insight. Or when suddenly the clouds clear and the sun, I can talk. The sun starts to shine through, then that's a moment of clarity, realization, things clearing up. Or the sunrise is a new day, it's a new dawn, right? These are symbols that our brain sort of associates with different feelings. So it can be very, very powerful in that sense. So that is symbols. Oh, you're talking about Inception's Rima. Yeah, 100%. Inception was such an awesome movie. Very, very cool. Okay, so let's get to number 13. 13, use metaphors. Metaphors are very, very powerful because that's how our brain thinks. So if you look at the movie Inside Out, right? They have someone in your brain that is responsible for fear, someone in your brain that's responsible for joy, someone that's responsible for anger, someone responsible for sadness, etc. Does that happen? No, that's like a metaphor. But it helps you to understand. When you use a metaphor, it helps you to understand what's going on in the brain. So very powerful in its own right, in that sense. So that is number 13. And finally,
Number 14.
Rhyme. Rhyming is so powerful. What do I mean by rhyming? When you rhyme, then it gets remembered more. Think of the OJ trial, right? If the glove don't fit, you must acquit. Now that is years ago that this trial took place, but till today, people all over the world remember this one line. If the glove don't fit, you must acquit. And do you see, people were to a certain degree hypnotized by that line, not just to remember it, but it kind of stays with you. If the glove don't quit, if the glove don't fit, you must acquit. And so using a rhyme can be very powerfully hypnotic in staying with you for a long time. And so definitely do check out how to end with a rhyme, if you see a lot of my ending screens, or I use a two-line, a takeaway phrase, the phrase that pays. See, I'm even rhyming over there. It's the phrase that pays, and those words typically rhyme. That phrase at the end typically rhymes. So definitely, if you can come up with a cool rhyme, it will stay with people. It will stay with your audience. So with that, I want to invite you all to definitely do subscribe to my channel at youtube.com/Muneer. If you want more, especially on hypnotic techniques and storytelling, public speaking, and a whole bunch of more, how to create and how to have a massive impact. Otherwise, I want to thank you and use once upon a time, a bit of a rhyme, and be remembered for your time. I want to thank you all very much for tuning in. This was another episode of Master the Mind. And with that, if you're interested in getting some power words for hypnosis, by the way, check out bit.ly/hypnowords. Other than that, I want to thank you for tuning in. Definitely hit the subscribe channel, and I will catch you on another episode real soon. Peace out, one love, and I will see you on another episode soon. Bye for now.